to. Your number 2 edge rusher this year
is Lukas Van Ness, a.k.a. Hercules from Iowa. yeah, got to meet him at the Combine. Great guy, great player. To paint a picture, right? This is where we get into. This isn't your traditional just line up wide and get after the pass rusher. No, this is a little bit more of the J.J. Watt type of guy here, all right? A little bit more of, he could play 4-3 defense end, but he could play 3-4 defense end and be head up on a, offensive tackle, right? He could play some outside linebacker. He's athletic enough to do it. That's not what you really want him to do. But ultimately, he's a 4-3 strong side end, a 3-4 defense end that's head up on the tackle, or hey, it's a third down, or we have another speed rusher we want to go on the field. Now go to 3 technique and just abuse that guard on the inside, right? He's going to be able to do that. Tyree Wilson's going to be able to do that as well. But, yes, this guy's different than Tyree Wilson, where Tyree Wilson, I said, is Myles Garrett. This guy is more along the lines of, like I said, a J.J. Watt, where it's not always about just speed and burst around the end. It's a little bit more, there's some more power involved and some strength at the point of attack and manhandling your opponent in front of you a little bit. So it's not always about, sexiness, explosiveness, and bend around the edge. That's where he's a little different that way.
Yeah, so you said it already. His nickname was Hercules. Yeah. And you wanted to paint the picture, but let's actually give the picture of him and what he looks like, because this was out there. I mean, here's a guy that is 6'6", 272, with a six-pack.
A six-pack. And good looks like to go
Great
along
hair.
with it.
It's kind of the hair I'm trying to go for here lately.
It's similar to yours.
Swoops back a little bit. I'm going
exactly
with the Van Ness.
The same legs and stomach, but the hair, okay, we can compare there.
Yeah, the body build is slightly different, but Luke Van Ness, it certainly looks like out of a magazine of what Hercules would look like. So here's a couple things. You mentioned versatility. I think at times he was primarily a defensive tackle, playing inside most of the time. Iowa moved him outside as well. Here's the curious thing, though. He was never a full-time starter at Iowa.
Yeah.
Per PFF,
right.
He had just one career game with 50 or more snaps. What do you think was happening there at Iowa?
I asked him about this. This is, and I knew about it already, but Iowa's got a thing of the guys who have been there and are 4-year seniors and played whatever, they start the game. They don't care if you're Hercules or not. You got to wait a snap or two. We're going to let the guys who've put in the hard work and paid their time and done all the things right, within their program, they get to start the football game, and then on the second or third play you can roll in. But somebody else who's older than you, who's done more here, gets to do that. And he was fine with that. That's just the way they roll. They're old school that way, right? It's kind of got a pecking order as far as that goes. But, yeah, it doesn't really matter, Ahmed, when he came in.
Maybe they should reconsider that.
Maybe they should. If they're letting up a lot of, first-play touchdowns, they definitely need to reconsider. But, first off, for a guy right, he's explosive. He's 270. He ran 4.58, right? He's got the long arms that we just talked about with Tyree Wilson. Not as long as Tyree, but 34-inch arms, right? He's first off a little more power-based, like you talked about. So his ability to hold the ground against double teams or do the two gapping we're talking about, he's really damn good in that department. His play strength is off the charts, right? And yes, his pass rushing might not be, what we picture as far as, TJ Watt, arm rip around the edge. He can do that. He can. Now, he's not put in that. This is where, it's not always fair. He's not put in that position to do that a whole lot, where you go, hey, get a little wider and really get ready to get off and just go. Because, when you see him do that, he's got speed. He's got speed to power. He knows how to use his hands a little bit. He's just got straight power. So, really, again, this is a guy where he has a very high floor. And his ceiling is pretty damn high, too. But they're he is not going to be a bust. He is going to be a good football player for a long time, and I'm betting that it's better than good. It's really damn good, and he's kind of one of the better hybrid defensive linemen in all of football.
Yeah, and watching his highlight reel, it was the same thing. Almost, it was very similar to Tyree Wilson. It was like this guy's just dominating.
You see him right away.
He's stronger than everyone.
You see him just move people.
He's not slow. I mean, with one arm.
Right.
I mean, he would get some offensive linemen off balance with just one arm swipes.
Right. That's what I mean. So you can piece that together with some of the pass rushing stuff you'd see too, right? Because you see him on the edge of a guard, and he's going upfield, and his inside arm, he'd be like, I'm just going to push you away so I can go back underneath. And he does it with ease.
How about the idea that strength won't play as well when you're going against the grown men in the NFL?
I don't worry about that. His strength is off the charts good, right? To be 272, and like you said, you watch a number of snaps where he's playing D tackle, and he's like got double teams from a 300-pounder and a 300-pounder, and he holds his ground. Right? I think his strength is off the charts good. So, yeah, will it be a little bit of adjustment period and all that? Sure, it will be. But he's also going to be put in some more positions to succeed more than at Iowa, too. Sometimes what happens with guys like this, they're just like, well, you're such a freak. You could play shade nose this week. Play nose tackle. Right? And it's like, well, I'm not the best at nose tackle, but I'm the man, you're right, and I'm Hercules, and I can do it.
Yeah.
Right? And it's not fair to him when we evaluate, we go, well, they move him inside. And they go, well, they're Iowa. He's the best player on their team. They move him wherever they think he's going to be an issue this week, right? And that's where he is. He's an issue.
And then they go, play corner. This is Iowa. I was like, I don't think it's going to work out well. This is Iowa.
Iowa has the most white people on the football field that I've ever seen.
Yeah, not just the football field, the basketball court as well. It's, it's a trend.
You're right. But
Iowa.
This is not your, this is, again, J.J. Watt is, of course, the extreme. And the J.J. Watt's, like, in a special room with Deion Sanders, the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Zach Allen, maybe a little from the Arizona Cardinals, who the Denver Broncos just paid a huge contract to, right? Is that kind of guy. Draymond Jones, right, who just got huge money, went from Denver to the Seattle Seahawks on like a $50-60 million deal. It's that kind of guy, right? So it's more, power and strength based on the edge, and then disruptive coming inside a little bit, but can do everything. He's kind of a no-miss prospect who's, again, I'm going to say, made for the NFL in 2023, different way than guys like Nolan Smith or, Tyree Wilson, but he's got no weakness. His strength and athleticism and length are all elite. His speed to power is real. It's not great speed, but it's great power. Dude brings it, can do it all, right?
Well, let's look at how much speed and power, because we have a hendecagon for the first time in Unbuttoned history. We have a hendecagon. Is that 11, Pete? 11 things. So we got a little spider situation here with the gon. You see the bench press was terrible. 8th percentile. Is that similar to what you were talking about with Wilson with the longer arms?
Exactly right. And you would never guess that by watching him on film, like you just said, or the highlights you see, because he is the master of having people in a locked out bench press position where you go, oh, that guy's screwed. And Van Ness can do whatever he wants with him in that position.
40-yard dash, he was in the 91st percentile, but then vertical jump, he can't really jump that high, so maybe knocking down some of those passes he won't be able to do. But, yeah, there's some things he does very elite. And the hand size, 97th percentile. Maybe they got to do, instead of bench press for some of these guys, like a butterfly test, right? Do the thing where you in front of your face.
Oh, like that.
Some different workout. Test a different muscle group.
Different pec test there.
Pec test. Yeah, do a pec test.
Hey, at the end of the day, that's one where nobody's going to question it. Like we've heard Dan Campbell say, the pajama Olympics or whatever else. The film is, nobody's going to care about his 17 reps on the bench, because you're just going to go, well, he's benching people off of him all game long in every game. So that's where he's really good. And to him, the 40 straight ahead explosion, the length in the arms, and then even the 3-cone. Because his ability to kind of get skinny and shoot through gaps that way, or even, again, I'm big into this, because life in the NFL is not perfect, where you're going to get into spots where you're going to drive off the ball on an offensive tackle, and he's going to win that initial contact, right? And you're going to be, how sometimes you see linemen bend in a weird position?
Yeah.
He can get in that position and then still come back and win the battle, to where he's like, oh no, he's getting bent in a weird position, and all of a sudden he's just like, oh, Hercules, and he throws the guy off of him and makes a play. And that's a special attribute, because you're going to be stuck in some of those weird positions when you play in the NFL defensive line, that's for sure.
Lance Zierlein on NFL.com said, quote, he's more of a splash player than a consistent force on tape to him. So when he talked about it, what do you think he's seeing there?
I don't really.
You didn't see that.
Well, I don't know. I don't. A consistent force.
I guess maybe just the number of snaps, maybe too. I don't know.
I don't know. Where splash players. See, where I think you got to be careful with them too is what is he being asked to do, the positions, right? So yeah, you could have a number of plays where you go, well, okay, yeah, he's playing. They put him a 3 technique for 5 plays in a row.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's just holding his ground in double teams or getting off blocks and making a tackle for a 1-yard gain or whatever else. But man, I don't know. I see it all with this guy, and he is a top 15 pick. There's no doubt he goes in the top 15 for my money. And again, I don't think I'm saying anything crazy there. I think that's when it's all said and done, I think that's where the NFL will see it as well.
Well, as far as production, too, who knows? Maybe at Iowa it is bad form to have more sacks than a senior on the team. So it's like, you're an underclassman. Give that sack to one of your friends out there. So here's one guy who also, a friend of the podcast, Micah Parsons, who's throwing some shade at Lukas Van Ness. So Van Ness threw this out there where he's swatting away the tackling dummies. Look at that. It's like karate chopping him or something like that. The hair, he doesn't even care about it here. It's just flying all over the place. And then Micah Parsons goes, bro, it's bags. Yeah. I've seen kids in middle school do this. Media is a scary place.
Yes, it's I don't know. He doesn't need to hate on Van Ness, Lukas Van Ness over this, but I mean, yeah, is this like one of those drills that's like, is there great value in that, or am I like, oh, whoa, look at that? No, it's just like getting your life conducive in the NFL, what it's like, working on hand speed, how flush you can hit it. How quickly can you readjust your feet to get to the next target? It's just a drill.
Having Micah Parsons clown you, it's just like getting used to the NFL.
Get used to the NFL.
Get ready for
rookie hazing, baby. Get ready. Hercules or not, you got to deal with some other Hercules now, so you're going to have to deal with this every now and then. Yo, thanks for watching, homies. It's the off season, but there's no off season for us here at Unbuttoned. Me, Ahmed, Fareed, we're going to hit all the stories. So hit subscribe for us, okay? We got a ton coming up. My draft prospect rankings, my Simms top 40 quarterback countdown, and videos of me and NFL QBs playing catch and talking about their development and mechanics. Again, thanks for watching. Remember to subscribe. Peace out, homies. See you soon.